Hi everybody and welcome back to the channel. Today I am going to be recording my post-holiday book haul video. I did a mini book haul on my birthday because my birthday is just a couple of days before Christmas, and then I wanted to give some time because I didn't want to be putting up kind of like back-to-back book hauls, but I did get some books that I am really looking forward to reading, which is really why I wanted to put this video together, because I feel like I don't know if anybody else is like this, but I tend to prioritize the books that I have gotten most recently, which can be bad for the books that have been on my TBR for, 10, 15 years. Those are probably the ones that I should be reading. But when you get a new book, it's all like, shiny and beckoning and wanting to be read. So I feel like the ones that I did get for Christmas and the ones that I got after the holidays with like gift cards or things like that are probably the ones that I'm going to end up wanting to prioritize. My hope, and I talked about this in my goals for the year when I did kind of my 2021 wrap-up video, I hope that I will not be filming another book haul for quite some time. I'm hoping not until the summer, because I really want to prioritize the books that I have on my physical TBR. Being on BookTube makes you hear people talk about books that are so phenomenal, that they're having such a fantastic time reading, and it makes you want to read all those things too. That's why we follow channels, why we enjoy being part of this community. But I need to read the books that are in my house. So all of these books were part of my kind of books that came in pre-2022 beginning. So these all make up my outstanding physical TBR number. And I'm just going to run you through the books that I got either myself post-holidays or as a holiday gift. And we may as well get into it because it is like a fairly hefty stack. The first couple, I'm just going to, these are a couple that I bought for myself after the holidays. So the first one is The Emperor's Blades by Brian Staveley. This is going to be part of Alan over the Library of Alexandria's, what is he calling it? February of the Unhewn Throne, maybe? He's kicking off as his channel's read along for the next couple of months. He's going to be kicking off this series, which is the Chronicles of the Unhewn Throne, and I'm hoping to jump in with them. I missed the last couple of read alongs on his channel. One was for a series that I had already completed, and for the other one, I was just too overwhelmed with everything else that I had to read. But I am really looking forward to reading this series, and this seems like a good time to pick it up and a good opportunity to really get into these books. So I'll be reading that starting in February. And then so this is a couple of books that I picked out for myself, and that is the beautiful hardcover bind-ups of the Vinland Saga manga. So this is what I used my kind of post-holiday gift card shopping for, to purchase the first, I don't even know how I'm holding these up. Okay. The first 6 volumes of Vinland Saga. I'm really looking forward to reading this. So I actually watched Vinland Saga last year. I included it in one of my "If you like this anime, read this book" videos, and I really, really loved the anime. But waiting for seasons, by the end of this book, it's just going to be me like drowning under a pile. But waiting for new seasons of anime can be really hard. So I figured that I will continue along with the manga. I have not read a lot of manga. I have been an anime fan for a really long time. I am not a super visual reader, and I think that is what has kept me away from reading manga for so long. But I am very invested in the story of Vinland Saga, and so I really want to know how it plays out. And I am going to continue on with the story. I think that there are 12 of these hardcover bind-ups in English right now. So I have, a little bit of reading cut out for me. I'm just going to put these down on the floor. But I'm looking forward to continuing along with Thorfinn and his journey. And we'll see how that goes. The next couple are actually birthday gifts that I got just a little bit later, like a couple of days after my birthday, or just later in the day on my birthday, from my mother-in-law. And those were Bewilderment by Richard Powers, which was a work of literary fiction that got a lot of buzz last year at the end of 2021, and one that I put on my 22 books that I want to read in 2022. So I'm looking forward to reading this. This is a pretty short book, and I'm hopeful that I'm going to be able to get that in the next couple of months. And the next is a romance, which I might end up picking up next month, maybe for February. It's always nice to have a romance to read. And that is called Just Last Night and I know that her name is not pronounced the way that it looks. It's Vari. So her name is Vari McFarlane, and I really like her romance novels. I think that her writing is quite good. I think she's really funny. These are always really heartfelt, and I think a step above a lot of the rom-coms that I read, at least. Now, I don't read a lot, so I'm not saying that to diminish any of the other books of that genre that I read, but of the authors that I have found, I really like her novels. I've read a couple by her and have really enjoyed them, so hopefully this will follow the same trend. Another book that I'm really looking forward to reading, and this is one that I picked up myself post-holidays, is Matrix by Lauren Groff. So I read the book Fates and Furies by Lauren Groff, and I loved it. It was this portrait of a marriage, and it was told in a very unique style where we had narration by I think the husband's comes first. I think you have narration by the husband, and then part 2 of the novel is narration by the wife. And it shows you how, even inside a marriage, even with the person that you know the best in your life, you sometimes have no idea what the other person is thinking or doing, and it's just an examination of how well we know the people in our lives. And the writing was gorgeous. The characters were not likable at all, but I thought that they were really deep, really complex, so I really enjoyed them in that way. And this is Lauren Groff's newest novel, and this is historical fiction set, I don't remember which century it is set in, but it is historical fiction. I don't really need to know that much else. I really enjoy her writing, and so I think that I hope that I will enjoy this book. Next is a gift that was sent to me for my birthday by Yolene from Yolene Reads, and that is Never Die by Rob J. Hayes. I have also had this one on my TBR since joining BookTube. So this is a book that I had no idea about before I came onto BookTube, and then once I've hopped on here and started hearing people talk about it. If we're going to be realistic, it was probably Patrick that I heard talking about it. But the way that he described it made me feel like this is something that I would really like. I think this is one of the ones that has been described as a good read for fans of anime, which I am. So it's very, very short. Hopefully, again, like I said, I'll be able to get to this one in the first half of the year because I have really been wanting to read this. If I'm not mistaken, maybe Yolene wants to read it too, and we'll read it together. I'm not sure. If she's up for that, then I definitely will. Next up is a book that was sent to me by my friend Evie, and this is a book I have already read, and that is A Marvelous Light by Freya Marsk. So Evie did not enjoy this book. I think she got it in like a special edition box, and so when she was not enjoying it, she asked me if she could send it to me, as if like I was doing the favor to her. And she was so kind and shipped this book to me, but like it has the most beautiful sprayed edges. The slipcover is clear. So when it comes off, it has this like floral front, and it's just so beautiful. I really liked this book. It was not a new favorite, but I liked it enough that I think I will reread it when it's time for the sequel, and will enjoy the reread and then hopefully enjoy the sequel. So I am beyond thrilled to have such a beautiful copy of this book, and I am so thankful to Evie, who has to be one of the nicest people on BookTube. So thank you so much to her for sending this to me. The next, I think this is the last of the books that I picked up for myself, and this is Lore Olympus. This was, I believe, the book that won Graphic Novel of the Year in the Goodreads Choice Awards. It was a webtoon that was picked up and printed traditionally, and it's a Hades and Persephone retelling, and I just think it's really beautiful. The cover is so pretty. The color scheme, really the color palette is what sucks me in here, because it's these gorgeous indigo, purple, pink hues. And the art style is like fairly simplistic, but I just really like it. Like it's got this really fun, vibrant, kind of quirky style that I enjoy. It's a modern retelling of the Greek pantheon. We follow mostly Hades and Persephone, but all the other kind of gods and goddesses jump in there as well. And so far, it has been very addictive. I think that it is not a complex retelling, but I think that she does devote time to important concepts. So there's a lot of difficult things that happen in Greek mythology. There's a lot of sexual assault. There's a lot of misuse of people, a lot of mistrust, a lot of antics that go on between the various members of the pantheon. And I think that she pays appropriate attention to some of those difficult aspects of Greek mythology. So I am really looking forward to continuing. I have been trying to not seek out the webtoon and then binge through the entire story. That may happen. I don't know how strong I'm going to be able to be, but I really, really enjoyed it. Coming up next, this was also a gift. So this was a gift from my friend Alan at the Library of Alexandria, and he was kind enough to send me Tales of the Greatcoats by Sebastian de Castell, which I still have not started, but I do want to. I really should just be reading one story a day, which is what Alan had told me to do, but January has been the busiest month in terms of work and family, and like there's just been so many things that have been happening that I feel like I'm starting off the year already feeling a little bit behind. So I've been kind of joking on Discord and saying that February is going to be my reset. That is going to be the true beginning of 2022 for me, and hopefully I will feel like I'm a little more afloat once February gets here. But I am really looking forward to reading the short stories in here. I love the Greatcoats. I think that they are so fun. It's probably the most fun that I had reading a book series last year was reading the Greatcoats, and I can't wait to get back with this world. I think some of there are stories that follow some of the characters and some kind of lesser known characters from the novel, but I am super excited to read this. So thank you to Alan and his lovely wife for sending that to me. The next one was a gift from my parents. I have not taken this out of the plastic yet. So this is the deluxe volume 2 of Berserk, which my parents were so kind to get for me for Christmas. I have not started volume 1 yet, but I am going to be starting soon. Berserk is just one of those stories that I have wanted to read for a long time. I have never watched the anime because I had heard a lot of mixed things about it. And so I think despite the fact that, there's no very clear ending, I still would like to start. So many people have told me that the golden age of this story is some of the best storytelling that they have ever read in any medium. And how can you say no when you hear praise like that? I feel like this is one of those things that I need to read, and I'm looking forward to it. I have gone as far as to crack the first page of the first volume, and what I found, I feel like sets the tone for the story and the kinds of things that I can expect. So I'm looking forward to reading it. Some people on Discord were a little bit worried that it might be like difficult. And I have to say that like gory stuff doesn't bother me. Going through med school, you see a lot of things about humans and the human body. So I feel like my tolerance for getting like squicked out about things is pretty high. There are some things that obviously make me more uncomfortable than others, but I'm looking forward to it because I feel like half of the pleasure of reading this series is going to be experiencing the great story, and the other half is going to be seeing if it is as intense as everybody has made it out to be. So looking forward to fulfilling both of those goals as I make my way through Berserk. The next book is another work of literary fiction, and that is The Book of Longings by Sue Monk Kidd. My friend Julia, who's just a friend from real life, always gives me books for my birthday and Christmas, and so she gifted this one to me, and I am looking forward to reading it. I honestly don't know that much about this book, but I did read her book, The Secret Life of Bees, many years ago and really enjoyed it. And Julia, who is one of the best friends, will file away little bits of information about you when you tell them to her so that she can bring them out when needed. And so she found this book. She had noticed that it was by the same author, and she thought, oh, I remember Sarah saying that she liked that, so long ago, and then picked this up for me. So I thought that was really nice of her, and I'm looking forward to getting to read that as well. The next one is just a second copy of a book that I already have. This was from my mom and my dad, and that is Carry On by Rainbow Rowell. So those are behind me on the shelf. I don't know if they're within the camera. Like, I don't know how much of my bookshelves are encompassed by this frame. But I bought the first book in the series when it first came out, and then they reprinted the covers with a different design. So this is just the design to match books 2 and 3. So I got this one to match books 2 and 3, and I will be happy to have them all looking the same on the shelf. I lied when I said that I didn't have any more books that I bought myself. This is the last one that I bought myself post-holidays, and that is The Robber Girl by Franny Billingsley. Again, I don't know anything about this book, but I bought it because, I don't know if it was 10 years ago, a long time ago, I feel like it may have been around like 2011 or something. I read a book by Franny Billingsley called Chime, and I think that book had either been nominated for the National Book Award, it had been nominated for some sort of award. And when I read it, it was the most surprising book that I had read that year because I had no expectations of it. I think I liked the cover when I saw it in the bookstore, and it was an impulsive buy. And when I read it, I loved it. I thought it was so good, and I thought about it for so long afterward, just the writing, the atmosphere. It felt, I remember thinking like I could see where this story was going because there was a central kind of mystery that was tied into the book, and I could see where it was going almost the whole time. So the ending was not a surprise. But the way that she wrote the book and the way that it made me feel as I was reading it, I thought that it was so well done. And so when I saw that she had a new book coming out, I was like, well, I will just buy it. The cover looks cool. I don't even know, is this fantasy? Is it magical realism? Is it just fiction? I'm not sure, but I will read it soon and get back to you on all of those questions. The next book is kind of a funny story. So this is technically from my parents, but they bought this book for my sister. So this book is called Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation, which, as I understand, was like a huge hit it was written by a Chinese author and became a huge hit worldwide, was turned into a drama, has like tons and tons and tons of fans. But I think this was its first printing in English, and my sister really wanted it for Christmas. So they ordered it, they pre-ordered it, and then it did not arrive in time. So they went to the bookstore when they went out of town, because my parents went out of town for Christmas this year because it was my nephew's first Christmas. So they went out to spend it with him. And they bought her a copy at the bookstore because it didn't come in time. So when this one arrived at my house, which is where they had pre-ordered it to, I got to keep it. So hopefully I will like this. I know my sister Catherine really likes it. So if I read it, then we can talk about it together, and that will be a nice little thing. I honestly don't know what this is really about. I know that there is a romance element, that there is a fantasy element. Beyond that, I really know very little, except that it is quite popular. So I will read it and see. The next two books are from my husband. So if you remember from my birthday book haul, he gifted me Nevernight for my birthday. And then for Christmas, he got me the other two books, God's Grave and Dark Dawn. So I'm looking forward to reading these. I have no idea how I'm going to feel about this series. There are very mixed opinions on it, but I am looking forward to having the chance to form my own opinion about them. The next is another book from my friend Julia, who gifted me the Book of Longings. She also gifted me the Excalibur Curse by Kirsten White, and this is the conclusion to a trilogy about King Arthur. So this is a young adult King Arthur retelling that centers around the character of Guinevere, and it's very interesting. I have enjoyed the series so far. I think Kirsten White wrote one of my favorite YA trilogies, which is, I don't remember what the actual series is called. I think it might be called the Conqueror's Saga, but the first book is called And I Darken, and it's a book that is about a gender-bent Vlad the Impaler. So the main character of the series is a girl, and her name is Lada, and she is modeled after the historical figure of Vlad the Impaler. And it was one of the first YA series that I read that had this completely gray, ferocious female main character, and I just loved it. I really enjoyed the series. I thought that it was great. And so shortly afterwards, Kirsten White announced that she was writing an Arthurian trilogy, and I was so excited because I love King Arthur retellings. This one has not reached the same level of enjoyment for me as the Conqueror Saga did, but I like it. It's not a bad retelling. It certainly doesn't end up in the same place where Half Sick of Shadows did last year. But I'm looking forward to the conclusion. Hopefully this one will kind of blow me out of the water, and then that will elevate the whole series for me. And then the last book that I have was a gift from my dear friend Joanna, who sent me The Trouble with Peace. And I'm so thankful to her. Joanna is lovely. She has been a great friend on BookTube. She is a wonderful part of the community, and she was so kind to gift me this. I can't wait to catch up to this point. I just have one of the standalones left, so I have to read Red Country and then the collection of short stories, and then I can get started in with the Age of Madness books. And I am super excited for that because people just seem to think that Abercrombie gets better and better as he continues to write. But those are all of the books that I have on the book haul. I did get 2 bookish items for Christmas that I was just going to quickly show in case anybody is interested. The first of which was from my mother-in-law, which is this little, it's a little, what's it called? Bibliophile brew. It's like a little case where you can put the books that are on your TBR inside and then kind of like shake them up and draw one out. Now, with buddy reads and channel read-alongs and all those things, every book on my TBR for January and February is already in place. So I will not be able to use this until March, but I did put the books that I'm kind of have as the highest priority on my TBR in here. So I have all these little pieces of paper in here. And when March comes, I will let my kids pick them out and I will read what is on there. They have been trying to do this ever since they saw me filling out the papers. They go in and like take off the top and pick through them all the time. So they're really excited for it. And it will be a good way to decide what I'm going to read when I don't know what to pick up. And the very last thing is this awesome little statue of the death of rats. This is from Andrew. This is his Christmas gift to me. Now, interestingly enough, when my little death of rats came, he was missing his scythe, so he doesn't have it. And we wrote to the Discworld Emporium, which is where Andrew found this little guy, and ordered him for me. And they sent back a hilarious email just apologizing for it not being in the box. And apparently it is on the way. So that's why I haven't put it up on the shelf yet, is because I don't want to put this little guy up there without his little scythe to go with him. But I did want to give him a shout out because I really love the death of rats. And I thought that it was so sweet for Andrew to get this for me for Christmas. So I really enjoyed that. And that is it. That is the end of my post-holiday book haul. Like I said, I am hopeful that I will not be doing another book haul until the summer months. And then hopefully by that point, I will have gotten through, if we take from February through to June, I'm hoping that I can knock like 25 or so previously purchased books off my TBR, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Hopefully you enjoyed this, and I will see you back with another video soon. Bye.